Hi, I'm Jonathan Oxer and this is Walktime blog number 23, storing CAD files. Last week, I think it was, on episode 85 of the AMP Hour, Dave and Chris talked about methods they use for storing CAD files, like for PCB design, that sort of thing, schematics. And it sounds like they both use a reasonably simple method, although Chris uses Dropbox, which is cool. And having seen a bit of the software world and a bit of the hardware world over the last few years, I can see that there are two quite different perspectives on this. And this is one area where I think the software guys are far more advanced than the hardware guys. So in the world of software, pretty much everybody moved on from the old duplicate a folder and stick a date in its name a decade ago, and there are far better tools now that give you all sorts of advantages that you really have to start using them to feel the benefits and realise how much better it is. It's one of those situations where you don't know how much better life could be until you try it the new way rather than the old way. And so anyway, the way I deal with most files now is I have a two-layered approach. I use Dropbox at the bottom level to sync between computers. So I have three main Linux machines that I use on a daily basis, and a Mac, my wife's Mac, that I use occasionally. So what I do is use Dropbox to sync every change as it's saved across all of those machines, and of course with Dropbox it saves remotely as well. So anytime I hit save in any program, or which includes Eagle and whatever else I might be working on in electronics, within seconds those files end up spread across all of those machines and also stored remotely on the Dropbox system, of course. So if my machine goes up in flames, I still have a copy. And that's good because I don't have to think about it. There's zero cognitive overhead. I don't have to think, oh, I'm going to have to make a copy of this and then duplicate it somewhere else and then save it to another disk, or snapshot a directory and rename it or something like that. Anytime you hit save, it just happens. It's totally native, which is great. What that doesn't save you from is the, oh no, I stuffed up and now I have to go back to a previous version problem. So, although I think there is a way you can do that through Dropbox, but what I do is layer Git on top of Dropbox. So within the Dropbox directory, I have my working files, and then the working files themselves are Git repos, which for the most part, some of them are just local, but for the most part are also connected remotely to GitHub. So what I get is the benefit of the instant replication across machines using Dropbox, but also every now and then when I explicitly want to checkpoint and say, this is a version, or I'm going to start doing something nasty now that may cause me problems and I might want to roll back, then I do a commit in Git as well. And even if I don't push it remotely, at least do a commit locally, and then I can push it when I want to. But the thing is that even if I don't, I can do a series of Git commits. I don't actually have to do a push to GitHub because the entire repo, once again, is being duplicated using Dropbox. And so every commit I've done ends up on each of those machines I care about without me having to do anything at all. So I get snapshots and rollbacks, and I also get replication, including offsite replication, all for very close to zero cognitive overhead. Stuff just happens, which is really nice. And it has saved me a couple of times. Like when I've messed up, I had one problem once in Eagle where I started modifying, I can't remember if it was a schematic file or the PCB file, without the other one being open. It got totally screwed up and I couldn't get the two files to correspond again, and so I had to roll back to a previous version. But of course with Git, that's just a matter of git checkout blah, and away you go, ready to rock and roll a couple of seconds later. So no more copying directories. And one of the advantages of Git, of course, is you don't end up with this big bunch of directories with just dates after them. You get the full change history. So Essentially, when you copy directories and stick a date in the name, what you're doing is an extremely primitive version of what Git can do, but Git does it in a unified repository and gives you all sorts of other things as well, other differences, extra features. So anyway, my recommendation, at the very least, use Dropbox or something like that to store your CAD files in, or use Git. Better still, use both. You get the both worlds then. So I want to know, how do you store CAD files? I'm curious. See ya.